going to get into this Cam Newton story because this is a little wild. So, as I mentioned, there was a 7-on-7 event that took place in Atlanta over the weekend. 7-on-7 is basically a skills position. It is without pads. They line up against each other, and it's kind of like a scrimmage, and different teams participate. They get to show off their skill sets. Sometimes, scouts or so forth are in the building. No tackling, hence no pads. Da 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 da. So it is football light, right? But it is practice for the guys. It gets them, starting to get them in game shape and also training. Well, there was a competition over the week. Well, I shouldn't call it a competition, but a setup, a camp, a situation for this 7-on-7 where various teams participated. Cam Newton has a team that participated in it, as well as a team called Top Shelf Performance. And so, if you've seen the footage, there's a lot of conversation that Cam was jumped by some kids from this 7-on-7 team that was in the building. Well, that's not exactly true. What it is that there's a coach, one of the coaches, his name is TJ Brown, top shelf underscore TJ, if you're curious and want to check out his Instagram. And apparently, at one point in time, he worked for Cam Newton's 7-on-7 team. I guess a good way to explain it is it's kind of like AAU basketball for football. And that's not even really a proper way to explain it. I'm just trying to give you some context here. But so people, in short, the reason why I bring that up is that that there are often coaches involved that may not necessarily be the most professional. They might have played the game at one level or they have a connection to this and that. And so they get involved. Well, this guy, TJ, and maybe some other individuals used to work for Cam, but now they work for this Top Shelf Performance. So prior to the altercation that we saw, there was a video circulating online of the TJ gentleman. If you're curious who TJ was in the video of Cam and the squabbles, he's the one with the dreads and the twist that was getting tossed around like a rag doll. So here's the setup, okay? TJ, before Cam's team lost in this, okay? They did not win. Happens, not a big deal. As I said, it is, largely a scrimmage situation. There's no titles on the line or anything like that. It's just practice and excuse me, bragging rights, I suppose. However, TJ was talking mess. He recorded a video of himself talking about the favorite Atlanta's favorite non-throwing quarterback, boop, boop, boop. He had a lot of things to say about one Cam Newton. Well, we don't know. We didn't see the full video. But what we did see is someone, TJ or one of his people, swing on Cam, and Cam not throw a punch, but handle what looked to be like 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, slanging them around. Hat didn't move. The dreads had the hat on secure. They filled it up inside so it did not move. It was like Botox in that piece. Listen, that was a man's man. And the thing is, these men know Cam, so they know that he is not a small guy. Cam Newton is about what, 6'5", 6'6", 250 all day? I know you may think you know what these athletes look like and what that stature looks like in front of you, but you don't. And let's be clear, Cam is probably not in football shape. It's been a while since he's been on the field. But it is clear, much like it is clear with one Shannon Sharp, that these men are still in the gym taking care of their physique. So, having said all of that, these gentlemen decided they wanted to have whatever conversation, and Cam handled that before security finally came. Since then, excuse me, there's been some backpedaling from TJ and the other gentleman that was with him, right? Oh, by the way, Top Shelf, they also lost the 7-on-7 as well. They may have not lost to Cam's team. They may not have lost at the point where he made that initial video, but they did not win. At any rate, somewhere it must have clicked in to TJ that, yo, this isn't a good look. And as a leader of men, a coach, you having this out there makes you look very, very bad. So they went on a radio show and spoke about what they claim happened prior to what we all have seen in the video.
I just
Let's
want to
take
know
a
like
listen.
what transpired, like what can make someone, anyone, like so angry, because sitting here and I'm speaking to you guys and there's so much that you guys are doing for the community and you're pouring into these young men, and so it's just like what can make something transpire like this?
First and foremost, like what I want to do, I want to apologize to everybody that was out there and to
Okay.
the parents of not just our team but everybody
Everybody that
was
was affected by
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Because it
That
was too
should have
much.
never happened. Like we should have been able to sit down and talk. Like there's no reason we should be yelling at each other while a game
Right.
going on. Like ain't none of that necessary. So Cam has an organization. It's not just one team. He has an organization. So it's just been a lot of trash talk, from, what I'm saying, hit more so his side, just out of nowhere, just talking crazy to us for no reason. It's like, it's not nothing new. Like, I've been around bro for 5 years. So, like, this typical Cam Newton behavior.
But Steph, you was right there.
Yeah, so
Oh,
they
wow.
You was
talking.
listening to the whole thing, so
he
you
in
heard
here.
him and you walked up.
Let me
Steph
see.
walk up
Oh,
there.
okay.
What's the,
And as
you
I'm
know,
walking up to Steph, Cam is in Steph's face. I made y'all responsible for everything y'all do, whatever. Then he grabbed Steph.
Okay.
So me being my little brother, and I'm walking up a flight of steps, and I see a 6'6" guy grabbing my brother.
And that's the footage that everybody
That's what
sees.
everybody's seeing.
Okay,
Like,
so that was the first altercation
Yeah,
where
there-
everybody
nothing,
saw.
nothing else
Right
ever
there.
happened
him,
before
Okay.
that. Nothing else ever
like,
happened.
nobody's
Okay.
seeing like how he was talking
Talking
crazy,
crazy,
for
like
the
none of
past
that.
2 days. Like
Yeah.
nobody's seen that. Like.
So here's the thing, right? One, we saw you on video, sir, talking mess about Cam before even that altercation you said happened. But now you're saying Cam was talking mess the whole weekend and he needed to be handled. I guess for me, the bigger question is, and it's not whataboutism, but I can't remember what show brought this up or who talked about this. Do you think Eli Manning and Peyton Manning are having this type of stuff jump off at their camps? I'm sure there's some type of altercations and, tempers flare, egos get in the way, but why does it seem like we are at times our own worst enemies? If you think back to a couple years ago, there was video footage of a young guy talking smack to Cam at one of his camps a few years ago, totally disrespecting him. And, it's kind of crazy because I know Cam's dad played football at Savannah State. I can't remember if he also was pro, but I know he, played in college, and that giving back to the excuse me, the Georgia community is something that was very important to them. And so from the very beginning, they have done things to set themselves up to make sure that they could give back. But the question now is the juice worth the squeeze? With so many times, we see our heroes, for lack of a better term, heading back into the community to give some type of support. And I'm not just talking about the ones that are there for the photo op or, to make the things look good. The ones that are consistently trying to do things. And on the other side, we see a lot of disrespectful youth and just a changing environment. So I'm kind of curious, what are the thoughts about, is it worth it for your physical and your mental well-being to still go back and leave that impact? Or is it better to just send a check and not even touch those lives physically because it gets so crazy out there, especially as of late?